Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. That's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Bubble wasn't here. I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Since 2014, we've been creating vegan, clean, and affordable skincare with proven actives and potent botanicals designed to treat your ever-changing skin. Celebrate our first decade of transformation today at facetheory.com/US-EN. Face Theory.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
Service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro. Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. us.muc-off.com.
At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today.
Stability.
Hey, here we are. Scotty, I guess we're moving the brakes around here at Rogue Media Network. We're working on making this a better experience for everyone. By the way, so this poster is significant. Ready? You see it? Now, look at the date. Pretty cool. February 3rd, 1977. That was 2 days before I was born. Years ago, I was dating a woman, not the one that I struck gold with that I'm engaged to now, but she had that poster in her bathroom in Austin, and I was like, I gotta get that. I mean, first of all, Blondie is awesome, and this concert tour date was 2 days before I was born. I know. We're all getting old here. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovacix. I'm much older than Scotty. A little wet behind the ears. He is holding things down from our studio in Waco. I'm in Flower Mound, Texas. From Flower Mound to the world. That's our slogan when we do the show here. Of course, Crawford Austin Properties, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, First National Bank of Central Texas. I already mentioned Savlachik's. Why not mention them twice? Socorro Family Ford doing an unbelievable job keeping us on the highway here as we continue the Pete Sousa Show. A big week last week. Got a ton of feedback. Sal Palantonio joins the show, right? Just an absolute home run. James Wessling was terrific. We had a lot of great guests last week. Very excited about this week. Today, we're talking to Todd Archer from ESPN about the Cowboys and their developments. Also going to talk a little bit to Danny White tomorrow, former Cowboys superstar and Arizona State quarterback. The Bears play Arizona State this weekend. And then on Thursday, we're going to have Steve Smith. Yes, that's Steve Smith. Ice up, son. We're talking about 89, number 89. So I'm pumped to have all that going this week. Of course, Steve Smith's alma mater, Utah, has a huge game against Texas Tech. Scotty and I are going to break down some of that Big 12 schedule this weekend because it's huge. There's a lot we don't know. First of all, we're at crossroads with a lot of stuff now. And it's early in the season to say crossroads. And you might say, Pete, why are we at a crossroads? Well, I'll tell you. There are 3 reasons off the top of my dome that I start this show with as to why we are at a crossroads already so early in the football season. 1, who is Arch Manning? Who is he? Right? I'll tell you in a second. 2, what's with the Chiefs? 0-2 for the first time since 2014. That was Andy Reid's second year as a head coach with the Chiefs. Who are the Dallas Cowboys? At 1-1, you give up 37 points to a Giants team that looked absolutely pedestrian last week. You signed Jadeveon Clowney after the game. That's something we're going to talk to Todd Archer about. But you score 40 points and you get the job done. And your offense and Dak Prescott look really, really, really good. Of course, Baylor taking care of business over the weekend. I really like the fact that they just had an opportunity, like I mentioned all last week, to catch their breath. Because out of the gate, that was a gauntlet. Auburn and SMU. Regardless of how SMU fared this weekend on the road, by the way, at Missouri State, but they picked up a victory, and that's they're 2-1 now. SMU is so when we talk, and they play TCU, by the way, coming up this weekend. Do they play TCU? Swingler, help me out. Does SMU play TCU? I feel like I made a mistake there. Hold on, let me see.
Yes.
Yeah, they do. Okay.
SMU and TCU.
There he is. By the way, he's not standing today, so I'm calling him City Swingler, not Scotty Swingler. And he says he won't stand up unless I'm in the studio. Is that true?
That's true. Yeah. I'm not gonna put the extra miles on my legs without being able to see your beautiful
extra
face.
miles. Give me a break.
Extra miles on my legs.
What birthday did you celebrate? What birthday did you celebrate recently?
Oh, I would rather not admit that on the internet, Pete. I'm getting up there in age. I'm quite old now.
Whatever. All right, we'll get back to Scotty in a second. I want to begin with Arch Manning because we have limited time before we welcome Todd Archer to the show. So Arch, man, did not look good. Was booed in the first half in Texas's win over the weekend. Not a huge battle, but you get it done. You get the win, but Arch Manning doesn't look good. And my biggest concern as to why he doesn't look good, 2 main things. And I don't think I am like discovering plutonium with either of these things that I've come to. Just basically, this is where I land on Arch Manning. He should be better than he is right now, right? And the reason I say that is because when I see him struggling early in the season like this, but it's not early in his career. He's been in this program for 3 years. So my initial reaction, just as a football guy, former member of a football team, being around teams on the pro and college level, I think, okay, there's so much going on inside that building, so much going on with Arch Manning that we don't know about. And I think you have to provide some grace for this kid. This is his first starting job, and it has come with expectations like we've never seen in the sport of college football, like we have never seen. It's clear that he is not responding to the expectations in a manner that we thought a quote unquote Manning would. And what I mean is, Peyton Manning's a great example. Now, people don't want to. When you think about Peyton Manning early in his career at Tennessee and early in his career with the Indianapolis Colts, right? Now, this is a blood relative, an uncle of Arch Manning. He lost his first game at Tennessee, okay, and did not play very well. Out of the gate, as a college quarterback, he struggled, right? And then in the NFL, he threw more interceptions than anybody in the league his rookie year. And I can remember in 1999, as clear as day, I was working for ABC radio sales out of Richmond. I had this job for like 4 months. I hated it. And then I went to New York and worked for McShay, and he and I worked for Gary Horton at the War Room. But there was 4 or 5 months where I worked for ABC radio sales, and I would take the train to work every day. It was awesome. Besides the fact that I was always hungover. This is well before I got sober. And I would read the paper as I worked through the hangover. And I remember reading an AP story in the Philadelphia Inquirer late in the season about the Indianapolis Colts. And the Colts really were struggling, and Peyton was struggling. And the quote was, he was talking to his father as they were walking after a game. And he looked at his dad and he said, "Dad, nobody's open." And that was an example, an illustration of just how fast things were moving for Peyton Manning on the NFL level. Everybody's so fast. His receivers were not out of this world, right? Like Marvin Harrison had not found his footing yet. And I'm not even sure Reggie Wayne was on the team at that point. It was a situation where he was overwhelmed by the change. Now, under Tom Moore and Jim Mora with the Colts at the time, Peyton Manning was given that job. And they said, "Hey, this is your job, okay? Nobody's going to take it from you." And he had the ability to work through some of those rough times, okay? Perfect situation for a quarterback going into the NFL as a full-time starter who is going to be handed the job out of the gate, right? Like, you need a long leash. I'll even bring it back to the game that I called this weekend, which I'm sure none of you watched. It was at Prairie View A&M at Rice for ESPN. I swear, and I love ESPN. I swear it was, ESPN has like 20 games, let's say, a weekend that they'll put play-by-play guys like me on, like the big ESPN network. And I this week, I swear it was like the last one. It's like, let's give Sousa this one, right? But dude, it's football. I'm elated, and I love getting into these teams and learning about them. What? By the way, of course, I'm Prisoner Pete. Scotty will tell you. Scott Abel, the coach of Rice, is running an option attack there. He won at Davidson with it. He won at Washington and Lee with it. He's a very bright guy, and he strikes me almost like a CEO rather than a coach. But he knows he can use this triple option attack at a school with lesser talent and more brains, sort of like a military school, but it's a little bit more expansive. It's a gun option, but that's not what I'm talking about. He got the job, right? Coach Abel did, and he knew he was going to run the option. So he mined the current roster for a guy who could run his option. I ended up looking at tape of this kid, Chase Jenkins, when Chase was in high school, right? He's out of the Katy area. And he said, Chase is going to be the guy that can run the option. At the time, when Abel got the job last November, Chase Jenkins was a wide receiver. Now, the reason I bring this up is because Chase Jenkins played like doggy doo-doo in the first 2 games of the season, right? He just did. You could tell this is a guy who is learning the offense on the job. But you can also tell, and from talking to Scott Abel, this is Chase Jenkins' job. And we talked to Chase Jenkins on Friday in person. And he was like, just very laid back, very confident. You can tell like he was one of those examples of like the team kind of nominates the quarterback sometimes, not so much the coach, but you can tell he's a leader. He's an outstanding athlete. And he's getting better and better at running the option every day. And I saw it on Saturday. He rushed for 150 yards or 120-something yards, and he looked like Harry Houdini running the option. Now, of course, he's playing against an FCS school. You get my point. but he's been given a very long leash, and there's not a lot of pressure on this dude. I would say the pressure he puts on himself, right, is probably going to be probably the most of the pressure he gets from anybody. Arch Manning, totally different, right? Wherever Arch Manning goes, you can't avoid the noise. And you just can't in life experience or know what you're going to get into until you experience reps in life. I don't care whether you're a quarterback or you're like me, working at a Kentucky Fried Chicken when you're turning your life around in a halfway house 15 years ago. That was my story when I got sober, right? I went from working in the NBA to going to rehab to living in a halfway house where part of my education there was you got to get a job at, a fast food restaurant or a 7-Eleven. You have to have a job to stay in the halfway house. So I had to work at Kentucky Fried Chicken. I had thought that I was this esteemed NBA PR flack and NBA. I did some broadcasting. I thought I was a big deal. I was not a big deal. I learned quickly I did not know how to work the register at a Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? But guess what? By the time I left that KFC, nobody could work a register like me. And let me tell you something. There were points in time where I almost got benched. Literally, they were like, we're going to have to take this guy off the register. He can't work it. He's cracking under the pressure. Really, this happened. Okay. Sharika Passwaters, who helped me get that job. Sharika was another woman who had graduated from a local recovery house. And so she knew my deal. And she said, let's give this kid a chance. He's trying to turn his life around. Sharika wanted me on the drive-through. Okay. But I couldn't even, because Sharika was working the drive-through, which was harder. And the drive-through, we were in the Baltimore area. In January, it sucked. Okay. You're leaning out the window half the time. So Sharika was like, I got to get this guy over here on the drive-through, but I can't get him on the drive-through until he masters a register. Look, dude, that was pressure. I can't even imagine what Arch is going through. I'm telling you, I have called basketball games, Big 12, top 10 matchups at Allen Fieldhouse. I was less nervous before the ball went up on ESPN than I was working that register, okay? Because I had 0 repetitions in that environment working a register. My point is, Arch Manning needs grace to be great. And I think Steve Sarkisian understands that. Going into halftime, he mentioned when he was interviewed, hey, he finally got booed. I told Arch, you're not a quarterback till you got booed. Sark knows something about getting booed. He played quarterback, big-time college football at BYU, and he's certainly gotten booed as a coach. I believe that Arch Manning will find his footing, right? But he's going to need time. And this is not a quarterback situation at Texas, right? The number 1 team in the country is not one you can put in a microwave. He needs grace, he needs repetitions, and he's going to need some time. Now, will he be afforded that time? We don't know, because at the top, right, it's cutthroat. The stakes are very high there. And he had time to learn behind Quinn Ewers. That is the major fear of mine and should be for Texas fans. He's been in the system for 3 years. This is not a brand new situation for him. But the reps, the environment, calling the signals in a stadium filled with 80,000 people, knowing that you're the guy, that is new. How's he going to handle it? Time's going to tell. In time, we'll be back with Todd Archer. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovacek's. Jadeveon Clowney. Is he going to make a difference for the Cowboys? Does Matt Eberflus need to shape up that defense? Because they were atrocious yesterday. Cowboys got it done. Can they get it done in the future? We'll talk to my man Todd Archer about that from ESPN on the other side of this break.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. That's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Bubble wasn't here. I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Since 2014, we've been creating vegan, clean, and affordable skincare with proven actives and potent botanicals designed to treat your ever-changing skin. Celebrate our first decade of transformation today at facetheory.com/US-EN. Face Theory.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
Service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro. Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. us.muc-off.com.
At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today.
Stability.
All right, we are back on the Pete Sousa Show. Today we are live in Flower Mound. You know what we say, from Flower Mound to the entire world. We'll be back in studio tomorrow. Right now we welcome ESPN's Todd Archer, and no better time to talk to the esteemed Todd Archer than in the wake of that fireworks display yesterday at AT&T Stadium. Todd, you've had a lot to cover, right, over the course of your career, especially covering the Cowboys. But one of the things I want to ask you off the top of the show, the offensive output, right? Let's start positive here. How much does Brian Schottenheimer deserve credit, or how much credit does he deserve for that? The offense in these first 2 weeks, outside of a couple possessions, has looked really good, better than I expected.
Yeah, the fourth quarter in Philadelphia was not good. Really, the second half in Philadelphia, I guess, really wasn't very good. And then the first quarter of the Giants game wasn't very good. The first two possessions they struggled. But yeah, I mean, you put up 40 points. Yeah, granted, 3 of them came in overtime. But I think situationally how they played, forget the end of the half yesterday, that wasn't very good. But 25 seconds left, you need a field goal. And you have your timeouts. They use those wisely. The Javonte Williams run where they got up and he got 3 yards, and then they called the timeout right before the kick. I think Schottenheimer's done a good job situationally with the Cowboys, understanding those moments. And look, if they were scoring 10 points a game, what would we be saying about Brian Schottenheimer's offense, right? So you have to be fair and say They're doing some really good things. Javonte Williams, excellent start to the season, a guy that no one thought of much when they brought him in from Denver. He's got 3 touchdowns in 2 games. Cowboys have 4 rushing touchdowns in the first 2 games. They had 6 all of last year. That's
wow.
good.
That is a great stat right there. I had not seen that yet. That is illuminating. Offensively, I do like where they're going. Defensively, it's the exact opposite. And during the offseason, I really thought that Matt Eberflus would have an immediate impact. That hasn't been the case yet. I know you've covered Eberflus a lot. Where do you think he has come up short so far this season, or is it not on him? Is it a Jimmy's and Joe's type situation?
It's a little bit of that, but I'll start positive. I think their run defense has actually been pretty good, and I don't know what the Giants run for yesterday. 84 yards, 21 carries, and Russell Wilson had 23 of those yards on scrambles, right? So, one scataboo run. I think the run defense has been acceptable. The pass defense is not. And, a lot of people wonder, right? Does a pass rush make a secondary, or does a secondary make a pass rush? I think we've seen the answer. We know the pass rush makes a secondary. So the Cowboys have to do something to fix that and help the guys on the back end, certainly. But maybe that's what Jadeveon Clowney can do. Again, he's the guy who had 5.5 sacks last year. I don't know if you come in and say, there's your Micah Parsons replacement. I wouldn't go there yet for him, obviously, at this stage of his career. But they have to mix their coverages more. They have Trayvon Diggs is an excellent cornerback, but he's not been a big zone guy. I think he likes just say, give me that guy, tell me to cover him, and I'll stay with him. Their safety struggled big time yesterday. Some of that's the pass rush not getting home quick enough, but there are things that they have to change up and mix up and show more looks as opposed to just sitting back, not wanting to give up the big play, and, oh, by the way, giving up the big play. So nothing really worked yesterday.
What do you see the Clowney signing as? You reported yesterday that the deal will get done after the game, and I've been dying to ask you this because I knew we were going to have you on, and I'm really grateful to have you. Do you think it's more about optics for this signing? Because really, you 5.5 sacks last year. The guy got, I think he was 2014 was his draft class. He was taken number 1. I mean, we're talking somebody who's a little long in the tooth coming off the edge. Is it more the name, like Jerry saying, hey, look, we're doing something? Or is this a guy that can really have an impact?
Well, he's the best guy available if you look at what's available now, right? We can go back and say if you were going to trade Micah Parsons, trade him before the draft so you could make some different decisions on how you're going to go about it. But they didn't do that. So this is a best case scenario at a worst case time to bring in a guy like this. It's interesting. He has 58.5 career sacks, and you said 2014 was his rookie year. Micah had 52.5 in his first 4 years. He's got what will be now. He's got 54 for his career after the sack and a half that he's got up in Green Bay. So I like the signing. I like what it can do. But to think that this guy is going to flip the fortunes of the pass rush, you can't. That's not fair to him, right? I mean, but it's just another piece that they can get to because so far they're not getting home with their 4 guys. So they have to bring extra guys. And what does that do? That exposes your back end as well. Now, yesterday, they still brought 4 and were still exposed. So I don't know if yesterday's a one-off and you just throw it away and say that's not going to happen again. But what do you think what do you think Chicago is going to try and do this week against this defense? They're going to try and block it up and make some big plays down the field.
When you watch that Malik Neighbors touchdown late, to me it was like, even somebody who covers the team, I was like, oh, here we go again. I felt like it was a sliding doors moment. Like this team just can't get off the schneid. They do. They get the win in overtime thanks to Brandon Aubrey. Do you feel like that was sort of a signature win? I know that's maybe not the best term this early in the season, but where you can flush a lot of those bad vibes. Like what was it like in there yesterday after the game when you consider that, the Micah thing too? I would imagine this puts that a little further in the rear view.
Well, of course, they're all going to say that this is a win that can carry over and help them down the road when they're in bad situations. They can go back to that and remember when we beat the Giants when we're down a field goal with 25 seconds to go. I get all that. To me, this can go either of 2 ways. And I'm no kidding, Todd, you're going to say this, but 2003, week 2, Parcells' first season at New York. They win a game by tying it at the end of regulation, and then Billy Cundiff wins it in overtime with a field goal. They go on and win the next 5. They go 10-6, make the playoffs. Week 2, Mike McCarthy's first year, home against Atlanta, the watermelon onside kick. against Dan Quinn. They win that game 40-39, whatever the heck it was. How did that season end up for the Cowboys? 6-10, Dak gets hurt, awful season. So this is kind of a crossroads moment. And these games, like when you play Chicago 0-2, when you look at what's down the road with Micah the following week, you better be 2-1 going into that game against the Packers. You better be 4-2 after your first 6 games when you look at what's down the road with their schedule. So this was absolutely a must win, even in week 2 against New York. How they got it, I don't think we'll be talking about that come December if they're still in this thing. But if they're out of it, I think we would say, man, remember how lucky they got against the Giants? They could be 4 and whatever at this point of the season if they didn't have that win.
Yeah, I think it really is that's football, right? Like the ball bouncing your way can really build confidence. Dak Prescott has looked very confident this year, and someone like you can help me tap into why. I mean, obviously physically the eyeball test he passes, but what's different about him this year? He's moving better. He just really seems like he's more in control and more confident in the pocket. The pocket looks cleaner. Is that Dak or is that the protection? What is that?
I think the offensive line play has been good against 2 very good fronts early in the season, Philadelphia and the Giants. I think they're running the ball better than they did it certainly last year, so that helps a quarterback as well. But you hit on something of Dak's ability to move. Last year, he didn't move. And then the one game he tried to move, he tears his hamstring off the bone and has to have surgery, and he's out for the season. So he was really intentional in the offseason of making sure he was running more. There were times in Oxnard where he'd make a handoff and sprint 40 yards down the field. They didn't want him to come in the season for the first time having to, quote, run scared in that first game against the Eagles. They wanted him to get his work in training camp to make sure that he would have full and complete faith in that hamstring holding up when he had to run. You look at yesterday's game, sets up the winning field goal by escaping trouble, getting down the field 14 yards. And it was interesting, after the game, he's like, I told you I could run. Well, he's not the first 3 years Dak where he had 18 rushing touchdowns, but he's certainly looking a lot better than he did last year. And that bodes well. But the confidence stuff, like to me, like Dak's a really good quarterback. Like he's always been that was his 24th fourth quarter overtime drive win of his career. I think he just tied Romo for the most in team history. So he's been a guy who's delivered in the regular season. Everything about Dak and the questions people have comes when they make the playoffs. So whatever he does in this regular season, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but he'll have to up his game if and when the Cowboys make the playoffs.
Todd Archer from ESPN. A couple more questions for you, and I'll let you get out of here. I can't imagine how busy you are on a day like today. With all the things that you cover in the Cowboys universe, you only have so many words you can write. Like, is there a story this season that you've been kind of looking to get out that you haven't had the time or literally just the bandwidth to share with people? Like any big story around the Cowboys that people really aren't talking about this year that you know about that's really interesting?
No, I mean, we cover the team so in depth, like it's hard to think we're missing something. I'm sure there is, right? We covered the Micah trade from every angle you could possibly cover. I think the one story I'd like to start digging into is DeMarvion Overshown's comeback from this knee deal.
Yes, dude.
You watch this guy do his rehab work off to the side, and you're like, man, he looks good. Now, I know there's like so many more hoops he has to get through before he can come back and play. But here's a guy that tore 3 ligaments in his knee last, what was that, December, November, whenever the hell it was late in the season.
It was November, yeah.
Yeah. And he's looking the part. Like that's the story that I'd like to kind of maybe try to dive into before he gets back. But we have a story actually coming up on ESPN.com, and people probably won't like it because it's Jerry Jones related. Just what it's like in those post-game scrums with him outside the locker room. We have something coming up that in a few weeks it'll be on NFL Countdown that you guys can check out.
Dude, see, that's that content I'm here for. I fascinated by Jerry Jones, and that leads me to my next question. I want to piggyback off what you said though with Overshown. When is he coming back? When is he scheduled to come back?
The way it was explained to me, it would be sometime around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
But again, you watch what he does out there, and he's not doing side to side and football drills and anything like that just yet. But it makes you think it could be sooner. But I know they're going to be conservative with his return because, again, that's a major deal, man. 3 ligaments, that's not something that you just say, I hate to even say like that's not just an ACL, right? I mean, that's the 3 major ones in your knee, and he looks the part right now. So I'll stick with the around Thanksgiving time.
When the Cowboys were at their bottom last year, right? It just felt like they had cratered. He was a guy going to the game. You could watch him like a football sicko on every play, and you'd get your money's worth. He's that good, and he's just that charismatic of a ball player, right? He's electric.
He's like Micah in some respects, right? Like you knew where 11 was when he was on the field because you could see him run by everybody. You know, now he's number 0. We've not seen him in that number yet, but you knew when 13 was on the field last year because he could run by guys. He could make game-changing plays. Think of the pick 6 that he had last year where he tipped it up in the air to himself and then he goes and scores. So yeah, he's a dynamic athlete. Seems like a great kid. We haven't gotten to know him much because he's been hurt more than he's played. But you just hope that for his sake, he's able to overcome these injuries and have the type of career that certainly last year for the first 8 games looked like he was trending and going to become one of the NFL's better linebackers. Now, as you cover the team for as long as you have, I always break Matt Mosley's balls about this because I think he should write a book. Like, are you like when you write all this stuff, do you have a specific folder you save some of it in and think to yourself, like, someday I got to write a book on this stuff because there's just so much on the bone here. And it is so interesting. You look back to the summertime. I mean, that documentary, I've read all the books on the Cowboys and I still learned new stuff in it. I mean, there's a lot here for the fans. Have you thought about writing a book at all? No. Maybe if they win a Super Bowl, because then it becomes something that more people would want to read. Now it's more just about the pain and the suffering that fans have felt for the last 30 seasons. If Mosley wrote a book about the Cowboys, it would turn into a book about him. So I don't know how many people would want to read that.
Todd Archer, man, you have said it all, dude. Check him out on ESPN.com. I really appreciate the time, Todd.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
I've been reading you for a very long time and watching you on TV. Very cool to talk to you, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
You too. All right, there he goes, Todd Archer. Hey, Scotty, let's clip that one and share it with Mosley for sure, right? That's great. Maybe him and Werder will play that on Doomsday. Great opportunity to talk to a legend like Todd Archer. We're going to step aside and come back. We've got a lot to talk to. I want to take a look at that Big 12 schedule, or a lot to talk about coming up this week. And really, Scotty and I are both in unison with, like, this is a truth serum weekend for the Big 12. We're going to find out a lot about 4 teams specifically. We'll talk about that when we come back. We're also going to talk about Vanderbilt. Scotty has a love affair with his boy Diego. So we'll cover that too. And a lot more to cover, man. Lucky to have Todd Archer. Lucky to have Danny White tomorrow. Looking forward to Steve Smith on Thursday. The Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovaceks, by the way. We'll be back after this.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
Experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
BosleyMD.com.
Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at FullwellFertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
Stability.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. Great conversation with Todd Archer. I should have showed him this. It would have gotten me instant street cred, dude. Instant street cred. I mean, this is it right here. Scotty, you don't know nothing about this. Like the punk rock scene, New York in the 70s. You might have actually fared well in one of those crowds, dude. You might have.
I would have had a great time.
Flower Mound today, from Flower Mound to the world. That's what we say when we're here. We're presented by Slovacic. Scotty's back in studio. Myself and our Rogue Media brethren, Chris Visser. I know I'll talk to him. I'm sure he's disappointed that you're sitting today with the computer on your lap. Everybody was very much taken with the Scotty Swingler standing thing.
Listen.
But no, keep sitting today. It's been a long weekend for you, right?
That's true. That's why the glasses are on. The voice is a little shot. Once again, this Monday morning, this is just going to be what football season is like for me. But I'm having a good time.
Yo, you're like one of those football players, like if you talk to somebody's wife, they're like, yeah, Scotty doesn't want me to talk about it, but on Mondays he can't get out of bed. He's so sore.
Yeah. I'm so sore. That's right.
All right, well, I'll come back to you in a second. But I want to talk real quickly about, I got my buddy. If you guys have watched ESPN, if you watch Mike Tyson fights back in the day, right? If you've watched big time sports on television, you have seen the work of my man, Steve Turnberger, also known as Burger. Burger was just asking me, how do I get the show? I mean, I'm like, dude, I fired him a link on Twitter. You can also watch it on YouTube. Okay. This is the Pete Sousa Show. We got we're stuck on 83,000 subscribers for some reason. I feel like the algorithm is kind of hating on us right now, because early on I was putting money into like the Google ads, which gets us right in front of people. And I'm like, yo, I can't go broke with the Google ads, man. Like, if Corey Dickman wants to get involved here, I would love that. He's running the Rogue Media Network, doing an amazing job. So right now it's been the Seuss dog, and hey, man, I'm coming off the summertime. Those are my lean months, Now we're eating again, right? College football, college basketball, going to, by the way, I'm going to Big 12 Media Days for NBC. We'll be doing some college basketball for them this year. Very, very lucky to be involved with that. ESPN is still they still bake the cake for me. And I'm forever grateful to ESPN. So I'll be doing a bunch of college basketball for them too. But hey, man, get in where you can fit in if you're me, right? I'm just happy to be calling games anywhere. But yeah, shout out to my man, Steve Turnberger. Hopefully he's watching. Not only is he one of the best producers or directors or whatever he wants to do in all of live television and sports, he's also one of the best guys to know. He is rich with information, with knowledge, with stories, with humor. And he just might be watching now. So tip of the cap to our buddy Steve Turnberger out there. I think he's in Manhattan Beach. I mean, the guy does not live a difficult life. Let me tell you that much. He does not. I mean, he's in one mountain, up on one mountaintop, then another exotic location. And then wherever his travels take him for work, which last week he was at North Carolina and he saw my spiders get tattooed by Bill Belichick. By the way, Scotty, Bill Belichick's got 2 wins, dude. I had 2 preseason bets that I'm rolling on right now. I had Houston to win over 5.5 games.
You're looking good on that front.
They have won 3. And what's our Bill Belichick stake bet? 5?
6.
6. Damn.
So if under 6 I win, over 6 you win. I think at 6 we say it's a wash.
Okay.
Because I said he will not win more games than Mac Brown did last year, and that was 6.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's take a look at this Big 12 schedule, and I want you to stick with me for this. Now, this is a weekend where literally it's truth serum time, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I say. I mean, there are huge games this weekend, and Scotty, again, an amazing job putting together the graphics there at the home office. I mean, folks, this is the kind of stuff that would take me 3 days to do, and Scotty just hits a couple buttons, and here we are. All right, big noon kickoff is going to be in Salt Lake City, and that's what's kind of neat too. When you talk about Utah, you think about the LDS Church, and it's awesome church. Love BYU, love Provo. I hope I get a couple games out there this year. But Salt Lake City's different. I mean, there's still obviously the church is the predominant religious group out there, and it has a wide reach. But Salt Lake's a little different. So when you're talking about big noon kickoff, you can drop my man Dave Portnoy in there in Salt Lake City, and it's no problem. And I think that's what you'll see this week. I can always give a little inside baseball here, because if somebody actually sees this from the Big 12 and gives me a hard time, that's a good problem to have, because it means we're doing our job. I'm always banging the drum for the Big 12. Obviously, the work I do on Inside the 12 every week, you can watch it on True TV. You can watch it on HBO Max and YouTube, the Big 12's YouTube, and all your local Big 12 markets. But I know that they're efforting Dave Portnoy to come on that show this week for us. And who knows what Portnoy's going to say. But it's pretty cool. The Big 12 is just so forward thinking. They are not afraid, dude. That conference gets it, dude. For instance, we put out a lot of content, and if I send content to the Big 12, they put it right up. They get it out there. They are a brilliant conference. And you see what they're doing on the field now. The Big 12 is now closer to the SEC than the ACC is. I think that body of work over the course of this year, I got Scotty nodding his head. Would you agree with that, Scotty?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. The West Virginia victory was huge. By the way, I heard something I'll share with you from my boy from West Virginia. Hold on. Let me see this. I got a mole at West Virginia who told me something this morning. And who is their quarterback? Max.
I will tell you, the team that I am least familiar with in this Big 12 conference at this moment is West Virginia. And after they came back and beat Pitt, I need to get familiar.
You need to. You know what you need to get familiar with, dude? This is a name that we're going to be talking about in the future, probably more next season, but could be this season. Is this dude Scotty Fox? He is a dude. And
that is a football name, by the way.
Yeah, Scotty Fox. But apparently, Rich Rod wants him to be the guy, and that's something that I think could be pretty interesting, because they got that Nico Marchiol, and he last game they took him out, and Rich Rod said he was looking for a spark. Apparently, from some of my folks that were at the game there. Actually, Nico went into the tent after that happened. So it may not have been as calculated. Who knows? But they played 3 quarterbacks in that win against Pitt, a huge win, more so for West Virginia and for the Big 12 than anything else. It was a key win because I will tell you all day long, I think the Big 12 is better than the ACC, and that's not biased. But these games over the weekend, who do you think, Scotty, we're going to learn the most about? Because that's a top 20 matchup, right up there. And then the bottom of your screen is the most enticing for us, I think, because obviously we'll do the green and gold show. I do not have a college football game this weekend, so I'll be on site for the green and gold show pregame for Baylor ahead of Arizona State. But what team has the most to prove this weekend in your eyes?
Man, I put these 4 matchups up because I think all of these, as you kind of said earlier, are truth serum games. I think the biggest one is definitely Texas Tech at Utah. I think, Texas Tech, kind of a offseason darling with all the money Cody Campbell's pumped into that program. It's kind of proving time for Joey McGuire, right? This is, he's had a couple years to get his guys in, get his systems in. We love him here in Waco because of his time here under Rule and Dave Aranda, but it's time to prove it. Time to prove you can win more than 8 games as Texas Tech, which outside of Mike Leach, no coach has ever really been able to prove. And with Utah, I think this is a huge game for Devin Dampier. I mean, that guy is either going to cement himself as a top 5 Heisman candidate if he performs well in this game, or flame out in a big way, a la DeQuan Finn. Maybe not that dramatic, but
whoa, take it easy on them.
Dude. Group of 5 kid that is athletic, can move, but there are questions about his arm. Lots of turnovers when he was at New Mexico. He's looked really good so far this season, but he hadn't played anybody. I mean, if he can play at that level against Texas Tech, I just said he's a top 5 Heisman candidate if he can, if he wins that game. I think TCU is fascinating here. Gives them a common opponent with Baylor, and as we kind of said last week when we were talking about Haley Sawyer rating South Carolina and not Vanderbilt, we saw that in that case the common opponent was telling. Because Vanderbilt kicked South Carolina's butt this weekend. I'm curious to see if TCU just blows out SMU by 30 after Baylor took a comeback in double overtime to win. That's not a good sign for Baylor fans. TCU's either really good or not, and I can't decide. I don't know about either of these teams in the third matchup. I don't know how good Pitt really is. West Virginia's got to be feeling good after winning a rivalry game. It's a huge boost for Rich Rod, but I could see them losing to Kansas by 3 scores. I think Kansas is really good. Or West Virginia goes into Lawrence, beats Kansas, and suddenly there are a lot of questions about Leipold and Daniels, I think, if West Virginia comes in and beats you in your house. And then, of course, at the bottom, you've got 2 teams who were projected in the top 3 or 4 in the conference who have kind of disappointed with their play. Arizona State against Mississippi State, of course, dropping that game. Sam Leavitt played horribly in that game, and he'd be the first to tell you that. Baylor dropping an opener to Auburn in a very poor fashion and not looking particularly put together in their 2 wins since. I think the loser of that ASU Baylor game, even though it's the first conference game, is probably out of the conference title hunt right there. I think. What
did you glean from Baylor this weekend?
Oh, man, you could probably tell by my headline here. Man, it was rough. I think Dave Aranda said it best. It looked like a team trying to play through a fog, man. Like nobody looked like they wanted to be there and put out their best, except maybe Simpkins and Josh Cameron. I don't think anybody else really looked like they were just going for it. Sawyer Robertson looked not good. Like I don't know how you play so freaking well against Auburn and SMU and don't turn the ball over and throw 2 ugly, bad decision throws for picks against Samford. I joked on Please Bear With Me last night. He's Peyton Manning in the must-have-it moments, and he's more like Blake Szymanski in the other moments. And if you don't know who Blake Szymanski is, I'll have to fill you in another time. But
here's one thing. And Phil Pop mentioned this last week. If we're talking about, and a lot of people have mentioned this. I forget who else we had on that knows what they're talking about. But the Heisman Trophy, right? I go back to that. That's a great game to play like crap. because nobody saw it.
True.
Nobody's going to talk about it. All people do is look at the score.
True. Well, and I'll tell you what was telling is I was listening to ESPN radio on my drive yesterday, a couple hours after the game, and I heard them say, "Oh, Baylor beat Samford 42-7," and I was like, "Okay, what are they going to say?" And they're like, "Sorry, Robertson continues his great play with 3 touchdowns," and I'm like, "Oh." Great.
Yeah.
Like if that's what the national media sees out of that game, then that's great because he did not look good.
No, and which makes this weekend huge.
Yes.
Huge for
Yes.
Baylor. I mean, that's his 5:30 local kick, right? 6:30 Eastern time.
6:30 local, 7:30.
6:30 local. Okay. And is that game? Forgive me. Is that on Fox or is that on? Let me see. Or is that ESPN? I should know that.
I should know that too.
Well, neither of us do. So let's check it out.
I'm googling it.
It is Monday here, folks.
ESPN.
Right? It's on ESPN.
Oh, that says coverage on ESPN. I'm so sorry. I read the wrong
Okay.
thing. False alarm, everybody.
Come on.
Google.
You're supposed to be better at this than me, dude.
I know, but I just told you I turned old. Dude, this just says. It's on Fox. It's on Fox. It's on Fox.
Okay. So Fox Saturday. I wonder who that crew will be. That could Benetti and RG3 have been doing the Friday games.
Yeah.
That could be Brando, but that'd be great, dude.
Yeah.
I'd be all for that.
Dog.
That would be terrific.
Speaking of all these matchups on Saturday, how lame is ESPN for going to Miami this week?
I'm not saying
dude, lame.
Great.
They should have been in Salt Lake City, and if not there, they should have been in Indiana, bro. Illinois at Indiana this week, Pete.
Yeah.
That's a truth-telling game for both of those teams, by the way. Number 9 versus number 19.
Yeah.
That's going to be, you know how I feel about Kurt Signetti, but that's a truth-telling game.
ESPN they're done going to a live sites that they don't have the game, right? Like they did that for Texas and Ohio State. But that game, that was a Fox game, and that was just undeniable how big it was, and you want to do that for Corso. But I don't think you'll find ESPN going to the site of a game that's going to air on Fox. I just don't think. I don't think that's prudent for them, right?
I don't think it's.
Would you do a pregame show before Texas Tech TCU and call Green and Gold?
One, it's not the same. If
I know it's not
nationwide college football show. 2, they've done it for years. For years, they've done pretty good for 40 years about just going to the best matchup typically, or like this. Well, the one with the story if there's not a particularly hyped matchup. But anyway, I digress.
Do you? Our last question on this, and we'll take a break and come back. And I got 2 more things to talk about, and we'll wrap it up. Is Baylor going to win on Saturday?
I'm not ready to say. We didn't. Please bear with me. Last night we didn't even make predictions. We're saving them for Saturday. I want to hear how practice is going this week. I think
hold on. Who do you have? What mole do you have that's going to be able to tell you something revealing about what's going on?
Pete, I know people. Don't worry about it. But my heart says Baylor. Baylor definitely has the talent. That offense has so much juice. I almost think they can just outgun anyone.
All right, guess the lines. Guess the lines. Do you know what it is?
Baylor's a 2.5-point favorite, right?
Can't believe that. Yeah, I would have said Arizona State by 1 or pick 'em.
I could just see it go either way, man. I could see Baylor running them out of that stadium by a couple scores, feeling really good. But I could also see basically what Jackson Arnold did for Auburn. Sam Leavitt is that athletic and a better passer. Yeah. So I know that was 3 weeks ago now, but I'm scared Sam Leavitt is going to have a field day if that defense, because they don't, Pete, not against SMU and not even against Samford. They didn't look like they were ready to stop the quarterback run, and they can't tackle. It freaks me out, man.
You're talking to me, right? Sometimes I think you're like the head coach of Baylor, and you don't want your players to rest at all. So you don't let anybody get comfortable. You're Matt Rule, up 33-0 at halftime, right? You come in the locker room and you're ripping everybody. I kind of love it. But my advice to you as a fan was put your feet up, dude. You're 2-1. Catch your breath. You got a huge game.
No.
You won it, dude.
But you got to understand, within the Baylor fan base, there are people who'd be perfectly satisfied to go 7-5 every season, as long as it meant we were in a bowl game and not at the bottom of the Big 12. That's not good enough for me. We have been to the mountaintop 3 times in the last 12 years. In fact, we've won the Big 12. That's the standard for me. And this team has not looked like a team that's ready to win the Big 12. Now, first 3 games last season compared to the back stretch, I have no doubt this team can put it together and do the thing. But I need them to put it together and do the thing. And right now, especially on defense, which pisses you off when you've got a defensive guru as your head coach, it doesn't look like they're ready to put it together. And it makes me nervous against the best wide receiver in the conference. Love you, Josh Cameron, but that dude Tyson is scary. Yeah. And a quarterback who I think is really gifted and probably pissed off that they dropped that game. Probably still really pissed off they dropped that game to Mississippi State.
I'll tell you what, makes you wonder if Tyson was healthy last year when they played Texas. Really makes you wonder. I mean, you can't turn back time, but.
Oh, I said on the podcast last night, I think Dillingham outcoached Sark in that game. And you change one, there's multiple like one play moments. You change, Arizona State should have won that game.
Yeah. All right, we're going to come back. I got 2 things to talk about, and I guarantee you're going to find both of them interesting, and you didn't see either one of them, but they're huge stories. Stay with us. Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovacek's coming back after this.
With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high-traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
whypersonalloans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit personalloans.com today.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
Stability.
All right, we're back on the Pete Sousa Show. Quickly, as we wrap things up here on a Monday, couple more segments to get to, or a couple more items to get to. One, my experience on Saturday. I called Rice game. Rice played Prairie View A&M. One of those games that, like, I know you didn't watch, but I did because I was getting paid and I love college football. And it was a triple option attack for Rice. If I was you, right, a casual or hardcore football fan, whatever you are and you're watching this, Rice and Charlotte play Thursday night, big boy ESPN. Rice is a 2.5-point favorite. Why? I would urge you to check that game out. Scott Abell's team runs a triple option, so you won't be there watching the game forever. It'll probably be pretty quick, and it's a fun team to watch. I don't know much about Charlotte, but I really like what's happening at Rice. And to be able to call a game, by the way, at Rice Stadium, okay, like now a lot of people might be like, oh, the place is a dump. To me, it is a historic landmark, and I thoroughly enjoyed the experience. By the way, the reason it's still there and still standing is because it's a historic landmark, because in 1962, that's where John F. Kennedy challenged Americans to reach for the stars and told them we were going to go to the moon. He warned the rest of the world, America's going to the moon, and we got there. What a speech. What an epic environment, right? That had to have been. They also played a Super Bowl there, 1974. The Dolphins beat the Vikings. Just huge events have taken place at that school, at that stadium. So just to be in there, I'm kind of a sports history nerd, whatever you want to call it. So when I walk in, and I'm on hallowed grounds like that, I really soak it in. The first time I ever walked into the Superdome, I almost cried, dude. I was spotting for Justin Kutcher, and he was like, dude, you all right? It was just, look, man, there had been so much history there. I was overwhelmed. By the way, this is so classic. I totally agree. Bear the truth. Like, I mean, I can't, thank God somebody else is paying attention around here. Like, practice? Like, has Dave ever said they had bad practices? If they had good practices, I might take it as you. I mean, Scotty telling us he's got to wait to see what he hears about practice. Like, look, maybe he must have like great sources. I believe him when he said, shit.
Dave Aranda is not my source.
There you go. That's a nice little drop, Scotty. Good for you. Okay, well, the one thing I know you didn't watch over the weekend, or maybe you did, but I kind of ran into it because the game ends at 10 o'clock. I called the game with LD McClain, like probably the most underrated analyst in all of college football, truthfully, for my money, and one of the coolest guys of all time. I sort of get in his head after games when we work together because he's really good, but he's around my age, right? I mean, he went to North Texas, played quarterback there in like the late 90s. He's got a beautiful family. His son, I don't want to say where he's going to go to school, but he's a Division I athlete, football, and he's going to play somewhere big. And he's got a family, right? Like, so he's got a full-time job where he runs HR for some big company. But I'm always like, yo, LD, if you ever dove head first into this thing, you would be very special. So those are my thoughts on him. But after the game, I went back to the hotel and I'm like, oh yeah, as a play-by-play guy, I'm a total psycho. I'll start to watch back the game and tell myself how terrible I am. And I'm sure anybody that has a chance to go back and evaluate their performance, regardless of what you do, you can probably relate. And then I was like, all right, enough of this. Let me watch this fight. It's on Netflix. And oh my God. First of all, Terrence Crawford, I don't watch boxing like ever. Like, so I don't really know much about Terrence Crawford at all. I know Canelo Alvarez because he's been around for a while. And I remember Louis C.K. one time was on Howard Stern, and Louis C.K. he's like Hispanic or Mexican. And Howard was like, I had no idea. And Louis C.K. said, yeah, I'm kind of like of the same, like Canelo Alvarez is, like that kind of Mexican. So Alvarez, who always reminds me of Louis C.K. now, is second to be introduced. Now, by the way, this fight is at Allegiant Stadium, and it's packed. And like, it is a world, the fight world is a world unto itself. I've always thought that and believed that it's a world that I've never been a part of. Just like you, I've had opportunities to parachute in, and I really enjoy it. Like, if there's a huge prize fight, I'm probably there. I mean, unless there's extenuating circumstances where I just can't make it or can't watch. This one, my night lent itself to being able to watch. And the hype was out of this world. And honestly, we're teetering on too much. Like, Terrence Crawford, by the way, comes into the ring, okay? There's a mariachi band, and they're playing a song from the movie Desperado, right? Antonio Banderas. Now, obviously, Desperado, you know the heritage, and I just explained to you the heritage of Canelo Alvarez, right? Who's going to come out second. So basically, Crawford is like, yeah, dude, this is my house. Like, I'm playing your music. I'm going to kick your ass. That was kind of hardcore, okay? But like, after Crawford enters the ring, I mean, it was like 10 minutes before they introduced Canelo Alvarez. Like, if I'm a boxer, and I know what happens, like with the Super Bowl and stuff, like after the national anthem, there's a lot of downtime, or after halftime or during halftime. It's a unique environment. I think that's bullshit, though. If you're a fighter, like, I don't want to wait around in the ring for like 15 minutes after you introduce me. I don't understand how you, I mean, obviously you're making a ton of money. You got to stay regulated and find a way. But that just blew my mind. And then the fight started, and it was boring. I mean, again, I'm not a fight guy. So like, I don't really appreciate the artistry of boxing, right? Like, my version of boxing is Mike Tyson just came to the ring with DMX playing. I'm looking to see him completely assassinate and kill this guy, right? And I think guys like myself got spoiled by Mike Tyson, because it was like you come into the ring, he would come into the ring, and it would just be like, you know, he's going to kill this guy. There was a fear throughout the arena, a buzz throughout the arena, and then a fear in his opponents. I'm reading this book now, listening to it, by Mark Kriegel, and it's about Mike Tyson. And they talk about the promoter who scheduled all of Mike Tyson's opponents early in his career, like 12 guys he scheduled, because he knew that these were just the perfect opponents for Mike Tyson. They were good boxers too, but he knew Tyson was going to kill him. And he said all these guys had one thing in common: they were scared shitless. And literally, the promoter, I forget the guy's name, who signed all these guys to fight Tyson, he literally was like, he had to push guys out of the dressing room, like literally talking to him like, look, dude, just go out there, give him what you got, give him your best stuff. You're never going to make this much money for, you know, this little amount of work. So these guys aren't taking dives. They're just terrified, but the payday is certainly worth it for them. And so that's kind of boxing I became familiar with when I was a kid. This fight was, it really heated up late, but it was clear that Crawford just won the fight, you know, and he won by decision. And one other thing, like from a broadcasting perspective, you had three guys calling the fight. Max Kellerman, obviously, was the guy I was familiar with. Another former boxer, and another guy who I don't know the former boxer, or it was Andre Jordan, I want to say, but I could be wrong. And the other guy was like a straight man play-by-play guy. Three guys was too many. And I know three guys is too many for this reason. They were three guys who it was obvious had not worked together a lot. I could be wrong. Somebody can jump in the chat and correct me. Or when you watch this later in the day, if you see this, please correct me. But it felt like three guys had just shown up to a cocktail party, were conversing about boxing. And all of a sudden Netflix grabbed him and said, okay, hey, you know what? You guys are so good at this. Sit ringside and commentate this fight. The left hand didn't know what the right one was doing. And it was awkward and clumsy at times. And I felt like, Kellerman would a couple times would tee himself up for these epic thoughts. And he would share a history lesson. and he'd try to like have it be a mic drop moment. And in the middle of this moment, one of the guys, I think the former boxer, would just come in and step right on him and just crush his thought and go on with whatever they had to say. And that to me is a lack of, that's like bad television, because I think when you share a stage with somebody like that, you've got it. You're almost like a salesman, right? We've talked about it before. Bill Simmons calls it like pro wrestling. You got to sell that guy. I got to sell your points. You got to sell mine. We're all on the same team. It can look pretty good. Did not seem like that was the case. And it kind of made it a hard listen or watch. Just my opinion. But yeah, that was my fight experience. All right. For the last like couple minutes, I want to bring Scotty back in because I know he's got thoughts about Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia, and the special things that are going on in the SEC, right? Scotty, by the way, let's face this, dude. And I love this about you because I'm very similar. Growing up in Philadelphia, raised on Rocky and the Villanova Wildcats in 1985, shocking Georgetown. I am an underdog guy. I feel like I am an underdog, right? A little comeback story here. You are similar. Teams like this really speak to you. And I know you would be delighted if these dudes could get into the SEC and keep this going. What's your favorite part about this storyline right now? Your favorite wrinkle?
Pete, I just want them to win the SEC so bad. I don't know. Outside of a Baylor championship, I don't know that I've wanted. I think my microphone just messed up. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm looking at Vanderbilt's schedule now.
Hey, you still there?
I hear you. I hear you.
Okay, great. Vanderbilt, dude. Well, you got to understand, Vanderbilt is like the Baylor of the SEC. They're very similar. Private schools, big conferences. I almost went to Vanderbilt. I looked very hard at going to Vanderbilt. There are days of my life I wonder if I shouldn't have gone to Vanderbilt and pursued the Nashville music scene on the side while I'm up there, but did not do that. Went to Baylor. And how do you not?
Did you get in?
I didn't end up applying, but it was my second choice. How do you not love Diego Pavia, dude? This guy is straight out of a video game. From last year when they surprised him after he defeated Alabama with a Johnny Manziel conversation on SportsCenter. That was one of my favorite moments of the season last year. He was kind of one of those like long shot Heisman odds that I was like, oh, there's no way. But like Lenora Sellers of South Carolina was kind of trendy. He's out. Arch Manning was the favorite. That ain't happening. Like Cade Klubnik. Let's go. Give me Haynes King, Georgia Tech, and Diego Pavia over all these big shot guys all day. So I just love it, man. Thanks for letting me talk about it. I really, really want to see Vanderbilt just screw everybody up in the SEC this season. I really want to see it. And you're right. I'm an underdog guy. It's why I fell in love with Indiana last year. It's why I'm quickly falling in love with Vanderbilt this year. I grew up a Baylor fan, Pete. If nobody thinks you're going to be good at football and you suddenly get good at football, oh my gosh, I am rooting for you all the time.
Well, far be it for me to rain on your parade, but
come on.
So this week they got Georgia State, win. Next week, Utah State, win. Okay, and they've already beaten 2 Power 5 opponents, right? Of course, they beat Virginia Tech and South Carolina. The South Carolina victory is huge.
That one's huge. Virginia Tech is bad.
They got Virginia Tech's coach fired, though, pretty much.
But beating South Carolina 31-7 is a statement.
But, dude, October 4th, you're on the road at Alabama, a team you beat last year. They're going to be looking to
win.
All right. LSU at home.
Simple question. Why do you think Alabama's good this season? What have they done what have they done this year to prove that they're a good football team? Nothing.
They certainly have gotten up off the mat and done pretty well.
They should not be ranked. They don't deserve to be ranked. They are ranked because of the name on the jersey, brother.
No,
Vanderbilt.
They beat Wisconsin like they stole something.
Wisconsin's no good anymore. Come on, you're living in like 2007 back here. Wisconsin's no good. What are we talking about? Vanderbilt's going to beat Alabama. I'll take it. Win.
Wow. All right. So Vanderbilt beats Alabama. Then you got LSU, dude. Okay.
That's
then
tough.
You got Missouri. Then you got Texas.
Win.
Then you've got Auburn, by the way, good for
Win.
Baylor. They're ranked 22nd. And then the back end of your schedule, okay, Kentucky, that's a win. But you could lose to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Like-
So I'm looking at the schedule as well. I'm saying LSU and Tennessee. I don't know that I'd put money on Vanderbilt. Okay, I'll give you those two. But I think Bama, Mizzou, Texas, certainly. Oh my gosh, are we going with Arch Manning now, or are we going with Diego Pavia? Give me Diego Pavia.
I'm not going with it's not those two versus one another. It's the dudes in the trenches and the guys on the back seven. Like, there's just a different brand of athlete, man.
Brother. I'm gonna ride this juice until I have to mourn as it runs out.
I like it.
As of September 15th, I'm saying Vanderbilt will finish the season 10-2. They will squeak into the SEC championship game, and they will cause playoff pandemonium. Let's go, Vandy. Let's go, Commodores.
I'll say this right here on the show. If Vanderbilt, I'm saying this on September 15th, 2025. Nobody's actually gives a shit, but I'm just going to say it so we can run this back if it happens. If Vanderbilt were to go 10-2 and win the SEC, that would probably be the best college football story in decades. I think, because they are, they've always been that team where it's like, if you could relegate one team in college football, it would be Vanderbilt, right? Like, over the course of history, they just have not belonged in the
or
SEC. Indiana. Yeah. So maybe this is an Indiana thing. I still think Indiana is a school better suited to go on a big time college football run than Vanderbilt. They just, the resources, the support. I just did a Rice game, dude. All those coaches talk about is, and they don't bitch about it, but they're like, look, man, we have a certain type of student athlete that comes to Rice, and like, our best NIL deal is a Rice degree. And honestly, I think, like, the way we're moving and grooving in college football, I think that's the most beneficial agreement that a young athlete can make. The statistics show it's like a thumbnail, right? A needle in a haystack makes the NFL. I don't care where you play.
Right.
So, like, to leave school with a vaunted degree like that, I don't know, maybe you start to attract more guys, but then it's like the threshold of getting in is just so difficult. Vanderbilt going on a run would be beyond special, dude.
For perspective, just because I wanted to look it up, I was like, you know what? I wonder, because it's been a little while. I was like, Diego Pavia is pretty good, but Vanderbilt had Jay Cutler. Like, I wonder how that went for them. Jay Cutler's record at Vanderbilt was 11-34.
Yeah, he was bad, dude.
His senior year, he went 5-6, 3-5 in conference play. He went 3-5 in conference play in 2005, despite being the SEC Offensive Player of the Year. That's crazy.
That is crazy. My college girlfriend went to Vanderbilt, so I used to go there. Yeah, I would go there, and God, who was the quarterback there? I forget. He was terrible. They were always terrible, but he lived in her complex. So and that whole school, Vanderbilt's just really an awesome school, and
it's a beautiful campus.
Yeah, and I think what makes it, one of the reasons it's special, is because it's an SEC school. So I'm really happy to see them go on. Last thought of the day. Okay, Kansas City Chiefs. I think that there's always a time, right? And we've seen it before, where the champ starts their downward spiral, right? Like the other side of the mountain. And I think we're seeing that with the Chiefs. Now, again, they have played the defending Super Bowl champs, who obviously have their number, and they played a game in Brazil. So, you could really throw both of those out the window. And you want to learn from them if you're Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo and the Chiefs, but at the same time, it's not a good sign. And this is, if we're not careful here, we could be witnessing the decline of the Kansas City Chiefs, and them being the ultimate NFL football team. And I think they're on the clock, and I think that's something to watch for. 0-2 for the first time since 2014. We've seen it happen before. We saw it happen to the Patriots. I remember seeing it happen to the 49ers. People before us saw it happen to the Steelers, right? Terry Bradshaw turns into Mark Malone, turns into we suck, and now it's Bubby Brister. Like, this has happened since the beginning of time. And ultimately, it's going to happen to the Chiefs. And it seems like it could be happening right now. So more will be revealed on that. But my Eagles, dude, I'll be back in the studio tomorrow. Maybe I'll put my Eagles helmet on like I did this weekend. My favorite moment at the end of the game is Chris Jones is talking smack to Saquon Barkley for not reaching 100 yards. And Jalen Hurts, before he takes the knee, says, "We won the effing game." And you could hear it over the broadcast. And it just, you feel like, man, these guys, man, they got it. I mean, honestly, I was on a walk yesterday during the second half of the Eagles game, and I was still staying dialed into the game. But, like, I just knew they were going to win. Fun. It's an interesting time as an Eagles fan. All right, the Pete Sousa Show. We're back tomorrow. Former Cowboy great, Arizona State legend Danny White's going to join us. We'll talk to him about his Cowboy years and, of course, look ahead at the Arizona State-Baylor clash coming up on Saturday. Also on Thursday, we'll be talking to Steve Smith, number 89, as we get set for Texas Tech and Utah. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovaceks. Thank you guys so much for watching. Seriously, like, subscribe. We love it. And honestly, I think you guys can see. I mean, today I'm away from the studio. Scotty's in the studio. And I think this show still kicked ass. So you should be watching this. You know, we're doing the best we can. And I really do think we separate ourselves from a lot of the content out there. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. I'm not lacking confidence. See ya.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning. So we love Extraco.
Show. Sports.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Show. Sports.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.
Bye, Pete.
Great show, dude. You kick ass.
You kick ass, bro.
Hey, did you hear back from Corey?
No.
I mean, I talked to him on Friday. We had this like really good, like long conversation about everything. We're not on anymore, right? Scotty?
Hey, you froze on me. What'd you say?
Are we on anymore or no? Scotty Swingler.
There you are. You froze on me. What'd you say?
Sorry, are we on still or no? Scotty, are we on the air?